We have made it to the trade deadline here in year number 4 of the Portland Trailblazers, MyNBA franchise here on NBA 2K24. This is going to be a nice opportunity for us to add to the roster as we look to make a playoff push because, boy, could we use some reinforcements. Now we have had a pretty good month of January despite the fact that it feels like half of the roster has been hurt, and it really seemed like we were starting to build some positive momentum. And then all of it got zapped within the span of one game. I did not know it was possible for one game to potentially ruin a season, but I feel like this loss against the Mavericks may have done that. For one thing, it was a super big game because us and the Mavericks were a game next to each other for 6th place in the Western Conference, and we got smacked. And we played awful from the start of the game until the finish. Down by 20 after the first quarter. Down by 30 at halftime. We allowed 90 points in the first half. The offense was fine, but the defense was abysmal. The rebounding was awful. Dallas doubled the amount of rebounds that we did, and Jalen Duren on his own damn near out-rebounded our entire team. Not to mention that 3 separate players got injured. In the first quarter, Malachi Suleiman. In the second quarter, Kristaps Porzingis. And in the third quarter, Scoot Henderson. The good news is that most of those injuries are not going to be super serious. The biggest one is going to be Malachi Suleiman, who suffered an ankle sprain. Suleiman is one of 2 guys to have played every game this year, and being without him is going to be a big loss, but I think we can manage. Porzingis is going to be out roughly until the All-Star break with a knee injury. He's already missed some time this year, so that's not ideal. And then Scoot Henderson's injury is very unserious, and we could have played him in the fourth quarter when we only had 7 healthy players, but we didn't because we were down by 40. What's the point? We are going to have Anthony Simons and Ochai Agbaji return from injury today, which is a big deal. Simons has been out since December, and Agbaji's been out since the 6th game of the year. So it looks like we're going to start to get healthier, and hopefully we'll rebound off of that catastrophic disaster of the game against Dallas. We're currently in 7th place, but we're 3rd in point differential. We were 2nd before the Mavericks game, but, losing by 40 is going to do that to you. The Western Conference is absurdly close, with 8 teams within 4.5 games of each other at the top, whereas the East really isn't as close, which is the opposite of what was the case last year, where the top teams in the West were very spread out, and the East was all mumbled. In terms of stats on the year, we need our star players to continue to step up. Scoot Henderson had a great month of January with Shaedon Sharpe sidelined for a little while. Darius Springer's obviously been fantastic. Khalil Griffin, the only guy to have now played in every game once Suleiman misses time. He has really stepped up. And I want to see how things go before we make a move as guys come back from injury. So we're going to simulate up to the trade deadline, and we're going to have some guys start to come back. We've got some tough games. The Pacers and Jazz are pretty solid. The Thunder and the Hornets are 2 of the best teams in the league. And then it gets a little bit easier with the Nets and the Nuggets, who both are not so good. During the simulation, we got a pretty interesting trade, being that we are getting close to the deadline. De'Aaron Fox for Scoot Henderson, 2 guys who are pretty similar players. There's not really a reason to do this. Scoot has been fantastic over the month of January, averaging 21, 8, and 7. Other than the 3-ball, he's been a rock star this month, so no, I'm good. Ochai Agbaji is back. We've been waiting for this all year. He's missed pretty much the entire season, and he finally returns from his ankle injury. We're going to ease him back in, so he's going to start off the bench. I don't know if he's going to return to the starting lineup long term, but for now, he's going to get lesser minutes because he's missed 41 games. That's half of an NBA season. Off of the Agbaji return, Anthony Simons, 1 game later, would return as well, so we've got our 6th man back. Other than Porzingis and Suleiman, the team is healthy. We got another trade offer during that stretch of games, and it's John Collins for Khalil Griffin. No. What is Brooklyn thinking? I mean, I can't blame them for trying, but John Collins for a future, I think, star, that's about as easy of a no as you're going to get. During the simulation, the team actually played really well. We ended up going 5-1, which is a big win. I was worried that Mavericks game could possibly kill our season, and it looks like that won't be the case. And that includes a big win against OKC. This was Agbaji's first game back. Double-doubles for Scoot and Springer. Sharpe played really well, too. And Darius Springer continues to play rock solid over this month. Just had his career high in rebounds with 18 in this game. And would you look at this? All-Star! For Darius Springer, how exciting! in his third NBA season, Darius Springer is named to the All-Star team, 5th in front court voting among Western Conference players. He was 10th in the last episode, and before the OKC game, I checked and he was 7th. So really cool to see him moving up to 5th and getting an All-Star nod. No Scoot Henderson or Shaedon Sharpe in the top 10, which is wild to me. I get they both missed some time this year, but there are guys on worse teams putting up worse numbers who ended up making it over them, which I really don't get. So during our 5-1 stretch, obviously the team played very well, and we moved down in the Western Conference because the Warriors have won 9 in a row. We have fallen to 8th place, but we're only 3 games out of 1st. This conference is so unbelievably close. The top 8 teams are split up by 3 games going into the trade deadline. And as we look at the roster, what do we need to add? Because it's clear that we cannot go into the trade deadline and do nothing. We have the star power, I think, to go far. But this team needs depth, and that's been apparent with the amount of injuries that we've had this year. I think we need more depth down low, and we could use some more guard depth. As we take a look at some of the teams here at the back, these are going to be the teams who we're looking to poach off of, and there are a few notable players who could be available. We got offered a trade in the last episode for D'Angelo Russell, and I think adding him is an interesting idea. The one thing I'm against about it is that his and Simon's skill sets are a little bit repetitive. 2 score-first guards who are not good on defense. The Sixers have other good options, though. I think Caleb Martin would be a really good fit, two-way forward, shooting 44% from 3 this year, plays solid defense. I think he could be the type of guy we look to add, even though he's more of a wing. He plays bigger than his 6'5", 205-pound frame would suggest. On the Nets, Dariq Whitehead, I think, could be an option. He's a 3-and-D guy, expiring, and I could see the Nets looking to move him. Cameron Banks is not on an expiring contract like some of these other players, but I don't think it's unreasonable to think the Pelicans could look to trade him. He's averaging 13-5 over the last 2 seasons, but the Pelicans have a lot of other talented guards, and they could look to move on from him. Tyus Jones is on the last year of his deal in Washington. The Wizards have no front court depth, so maybe giving up one of our bigs for Tyus Jones would make a lot of sense. Jones has been a solid veteran point guard for a while. The Pistons are pretty good, so I don't know how willing they'd be to trading away Kelly Oubre Jr., but he's having one of the better years of his career, and if we can make it work, he's definitely a guy I would like to target. In terms of draft picks, though, we don't have a lot of tradable first-round picks since we traded a lot to Boston for Porzingis. The only first-round pick we can trade would be our 2028 pick, and truthfully, I'd just rather not trade that pick right now. So I want to start with the Sixers. I think some combination of D'Lo, Caleb Martin, and Derek Lively would make a lot of sense for us. These trade offers are ridiculous, though. I'm not giving up Scoot. I'm not giving up Springer. I'm not giving up Abaji. I'm not giving up anyone important or any draft picks. Khalil Griffin's here as well. Anthony Simons is too. No, I'm not doing that. Even for Caleb Martin, we would have to give up either Ashton Wisham or the 2028 first-round pick in every deal, and I'm just not willing to do that. I put Cameron Banks in the trade finder. They want Springer, they want Griffin, they want Wisham and the pick, which is just too far, and then they want Simons. What about Dariq Whitehead? I mean, he's expiring. He can't be that much. Wrong. They want Ochai Agbaji here in the first trade. They want Scoot Henderson or Springer or Griffin and Simons. Or just Simons. No. I think we might be setting our sights a little bit too high. I think we need to look lower. And I think Enzo Shabazz with the Sixers could be an interesting addition. He's a hybrid wing big who's averaging around 12-7. Non-shooter, but he's a versatile defender. He's only 23 years old, and he has multiple years left on his deal. The trade offers would involve us giving up Ashton Wisham or Zay Logan, and I don't really want to do that. But it's clear that he's not going to cost that much. I offered Santi Aldama and 2 second-round picks, and they say yes. So the deal is done. We still have 2 other second-rounders in 2028, so I'm not too worried about those picks. And Santi Aldama wasn't all that good for us. So we add Enzo Shabazz, 6'9", 235. He can play the wing. He can play as a big. I think he could be the missing piece depth-wise for what we've been looking for down low. I don't think I'm going to add a guard for now. Part of the reason why I feel like we've needed a guard is because of injury. And once Suleiman and Simons are fully healthy, we're going to have 3 guys who I'm confident in as lead guards. So I don't think it's imperative necessarily that we get one. So I think for now, Shabazz is going to be the only move that we make. Let's take a look at the trade deadline around the rest of the league, and there have already been a bunch of interesting trades. We just had Kawhi Leonard swapped for Desmond Bane. So again, I'm looking for notable players on some of these teams towards the back in terms of veterans or star level players who could potentially look to be dealt. There aren't many star players who I think could be available other than with the Sixers with Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. Embiid in particular, he's starting to regress. I could see him wanting out. So I think that's something that could be a possibility. We're going to start small and work our way up big in terms of the trades. DeAndre Hunter plays for the Knicks, who are the worst team in the league. He's going to be traded to the Warriors, who need another 3-and-D wing for Paul Reed and 2 second-round picks. The Warriors have been playing really good basketball, but they're starting Isaiah Livers at the 3. That can't happen if they want to go anywhere in the playoffs. Kobe Buffkin's on the last year of his deal in Atlanta, and the Hawks already have a lot of score-first combo guards, so he's going to go to the Bucks for Ace McCoy Jr., who was a late first-round pick last year, and 2 seconds, including the Clippers' second, which is basically like pick 31 or 32. The Bucks need some more guard scorers, and Kobe Buffkin's going to give them that. The Bucks are also going to get Chris Middleton from the Clippers for basically nothing. He's shooting 39% from the field. He's kind of cooked, which is why he's going to cost nothing. And the Clippers are the worst team in the league. They have no need for him. The Oklahoma City Thunder are loaded. They have the recipe for a championship contender, but they need a scoring guard. They're going to get Emmanuel quickly from the Nuggets for Shakir Azakiwe and 2 second-rounders. The Wizards have a lot of backcourt depth, but nothing in the front court. They'll get former Blazer Isaiah Stewart in exchange for Yusuf Turkilmaz and 2 second-rounders. And finally, let's finish off with a bang. Joel Embiid is on the move to the Sacramento Kings. Yes, the Kings, who are in first place in the Western Conference, seemingly out of nowhere, led by the players they've drafted throughout this series. Jaden Prospero, averaging 14 and 10. Midnight Hopkins, the Rookie of the Year last year, averaging close to 20 and 8 on great shooting splits. Amel Wright, another former first-round pick, is the favorite for most improved, 21 points a game on nearly 50, 40, 90 shooting. Apollo Cone is second place for most improved. He's having a great year. The Kings have all these young pieces, and they don't have to give up any of them. They'll be getting Embiid, Santi Aldama, and Monty Morris in exchange for Noah Clowney, Rui Hachimura, Mendalgas Carrozas, the biggest piece in this trade. He was a lottery pick this year, but now that they're getting Embiid, they don't need him. The Sixers will also get 3 first-round picks, 1 in 2027, 1 in 2029, and 1 in 2031. So some big moves around the NBA, most notably Joel Embiid joining the loaded young core of Sacramento. I'm excited to play against the Kings at some point, hopefully later in the season. I want to play this game against Atlanta. I think the Hawks have a really fun young team, and I wanted to take a look at them. So we're going to simulate through these games against the Grizzlies and the Lakers. Kristaps Porzingis is going to come back ahead of the Hawks game, but I'm going to sit him through the All-Star break just to make sure he's fully healthy going into the second half of the year. We won both games against the Grizzlies and Lakers. Enzo Shabazz was kind of quiet. He didn't play a lot in those games, but he's adjusting to a new role. He's being used completely differently as to how he was in Philadelphia. He was more of a wing there, and he was a starter as well. So I understand that it might take some time for him to get adjusted. We've moved up from 8th place all the way to 5th place. As long as we keep winning, we're going to move up with how close this Western Conference is. Let's take a look at the Hawks, who have a lot of talented young players. Their leading scorer is TJ Porter Jr., former top 5 pick, averaging 16 a game. Chance Corradino was the 2nd overall pick in this year's draft. We really liked this kid, and for good reason. He's a good player, shooting 56% from 3. Okay? The Hawks have some other fun young guys on their roster. They traded for Bryce Watson from New Orleans. They signed Jonathan Kuminga. They're not the best team. They're around 12 games under 500. But I think this team quietly has a pretty bright future if Porter and Corradino are able to develop into really good players. Should be a fun one here in the ATL. Final game before the All-Star break, which of course will include our very own Darius Springer representing the Blazers as a first-time All-Star. Regular starters for Portland, minus Kristaps, obviously. As for Atlanta, rookie guard Sir Xander Hopkins will get the start at the 1. And the Hawks have 2 rookies going today as the Hawks win the tip and we are underway. Hopkins with it. He gets it to his fellow rookie, Corradino, who loses it. Scoot Henderson with the steal. Takes it himself, coast to coast with the finish to get the scoring started. The best offense is good defense. Springer with it now, driving right side, fouled, Euro step, and 1 slam! I have no idea how that was a shooting foul, I'll be brutally honest. That was very clearly a reach-in foul, and then after the reach, he takes 4 steps, doing the Euro, and somehow that counts. No clue how, but hey, we're not complaining. The lob is tipped away by Springer and unsuccessful. On the other end, Scoot out to Sharp with the drive, and he gets the lefty floater to fall, and Portland's up 9-1. Very quick start here for the Blazers. Hopkins with it, the rookie, gets it over to TJ Porter Jr., who loses it. Springer with the steal. He's got Scoot open on the wing for three, and it's good. The Trailblazers lead at 12-1. A dominant start for Portland, and they're looking to add more. Scoot inside for Springer, who sends it home. He's got 7, and it's now 14-1. The Hawks don't even have a field goal yet. Sharp on the move, no good. Springer with the offensive rebound and the putback over Watson and Corradino, as it's now 16-1. Corradino inside for the rookie, Sir Xander Hopkins, who makes the layup. It took Atlanta 3.5 minutes, but they finally get their first field goal of the day. Quite the contrary from the Dallas game, I've got to say. Griffin, step back, 3-ball is good, and the Blazers quickly respond. They're up by 16 points 4 minutes into the game. Porter's intercepted by Ashton Wisham. On the other end, Scoot to Griffin, drives inside, and Griffin throws it down on Bryce Watson, and it's 21-3. That's a football score. Watson, contested triple is good. Big basket for the third-year pro out of Dayton. Atlanta needed that one badly. 23-8 now. Abaji out to Scoot Henderson. Step back. Jumper is good. Big start for Scoot. He's got 9, which is more than the entire Hawks team combined, along with 4 assists. Abaji with it. Takes it himself to the rack. Nice play there by Ochai, who's averaging around 10 points a game since coming back from injury, although, again, keep in mind, he's on a smaller role than normal. Here's Henderson. Step back. Jumper is good, and Scoot now is 11 here in the first. It's 31-12 with a minute left. Springer, jumper, over Corradino, who's like 7'1", and has ridiculously long arms, and he makes it as it's a 21-point game. Corradino inside, looking to use the size advantage, and he does, as the rookie out of Pitt makes the layup, and that'll cut the lead all the way down to 19. 33-14, here's Josh Green. Little pick and roll action, but Corradino's blocked. Springer with the snuff. On the other end, not a lot of time left. Springer with it, gets it to Abaji. Corner 3 won't fall, and that'll do it. We're coming off a game where the Blazers got outscored by 20 in the first quarter against Dallas, and here we've completely flipped the script, leading by 19, I guess make it 17 now, to the Hawks. Into the second quarter, wide open lane, it's Zay Logan, who comes flying in with the slam. Logan's had a great second season, averaging around 10 a night. Simon, step back is good. He's just too silky smooth. Having his scoring back off the bench is going to be critical because this team has missed him. Here's Lucici Yakovlev with it inside, and he gets the layup. Nice play there by Yakovlev, one of the 3 triplets who were all drafted together in the first round back in Season 2. Here's Watson with it. Nice move on Darius Springer, the All-Star, and he gets the dunk. 39-24. So Xander Hopkins, the rookie, hailing from Aruba, and IMG Academy is no good, but the putback is, that's the veteran Zach Collins in his 10th NBA season out of Gonzaga. 39-26. Hopkins gets it over to Watson. Layup is good, and look at the Hawks. They're playing really well here in the second quarter. They've brought the lead down to 11. It was a 19-point game to start the quarter. Here's TJ Porter Jr. now. He makes the jumper, and the lead is down to 9. Look at the Hawks bringing themselves right back in the game. Portland's got to get a bucket. It's Logan on the drive, makes the layup. Nice play by Zay Logan. Big basket for the Blazers. They needed that one, and they're back up by 11. Make it 13. Watson, what was that? He was trying to do like a turnaround fadeaway with one hand. He was getting too cute there. 5-on-4. Zach Collins is hurt on the other end. Griffin hits the open jumper. As for Collins, it looks like he's grabbing at his chest. Could be a big loss for Atlanta, who doesn't have a lot of front court depth after trading both Onyeka Okongwu and Jalen Duren earlier in the season. Nice pass up the floor off the turnover. Simons to Sharp for the dunk. Sharp with only 4 points today. He's been kind of quiet, but it hasn't really mattered. Corradino, no good. That was Anthony Simons with the stop, who's 10 inches shorter. Sharp, pump fake to Shabazz for the layup. Nice play there by Enzo Shabazz, and it's 49-30. TJ Porter Jr. with it. Floater over Shabazz is good. Even though Shabazz is undersized at 6'9", he does play like a true center. Although I guess that play he wasn't able to get to stop. Shabazz out to Griffin for 3. Big jumper for Khalil Griffin, who's got 10 and 5. Kuminga, no good. Griffin with the rebound. Good defense. Good rebound on the other end. Here's Sharp with it. Step back. Jumper is good. Remember when the Blazers were down by 9? That feels like a pipe dream ago. The lead is back up to 22, and Portland is right back to domination. Why stop now, though? Scoot Henderson in with the layup, and the lead is up to 24. Portland has looked dominant these past few minutes. Here's Green, gets it to the rookie. Chance Corradino, who's in with the layup. A very unprecedented journey. You don't find upperclassmen drafted in the top 2 picks very often, but Corradino, a 3-year player at Pitt, was a late bloomer, but has the NBA skill set that scouts drool over. Shaedon Sharpe hits the 3. Blazers up by 25 points now. Sharpe has started to heat up here in the second, as the floater is no good, but Corradino is there with the putback. He's been one of the few bright spots for the Hawks here in the first half. Porter misses the 3. Time's winding down. Portland has to shoot it quick. It's Agbaji at the buzzer. Bang! Ochai Agbaji drills the 3 off the assist by Khalil Griffin, and the Blazers lead by 24. Going into halftime, 62-38. In the game against Dallas in the last episode, the Mavericks scored over 40 points in the first 2 quarters. Atlanta doesn't even have 40 points here at halftime. They're shooting 36% from the field. What a stark difference defensively from that game to this one. Hopefully the Blazers can keep it going here into the third, as Bryce Watson has it. Spin move out to T.J. Porter Jr., who hits the 3. Porter, an NCAA tournament legend at Texas, built his stock into a top 5 pick and is a really good young scorer as he goes inside for the big man, Chance Corradino, guarded by fellow rookie Ashton Wisham, and Corradino wins that battle. 63-45, here's Shaedon Sharpe with it. He gets it over to Wisham. Nice pass over to Scoot Henderson for 3. Nice seeing Ashton Wisham show some good signs as a playmaker, and Scoot Henderson drills the 3. 21-point game. Watson is intercepted by Anthony Simons. Logan back to Simons inside with the reverse layup. Nice play there by Simons on both ends of the floor. Good steal, tough layup, 23-point lead. Xander Hopkins with it for the Hawks as he lobs it up for Porter. T.J. Porter Jr. with the slam. 70-47. Here's Simons with it out to Ochai Agbaji. Really nice having Ochai back in the lineup. Obviously, as a guy who can space the floor and shoot the 3, but also the best perimeter defender on the roster. Ball is tipped away. Simons poked at it. Shabazz with the steal, looking to take it himself, and he does. Shabazz has spent the last 2.5 seasons with the Sixers, drafted in the second round, raised in Portugal, played in Italy for Olimpia Milano before being drafted by Philadelphia. There's T.J. Porter Jr. with the top of the key 3, 75-52. Darius Springer with it. Goes right side. He has Scoot Henderson open for 3, and it's good. Scoot shot 43% from deep a year ago. This year, that's all the way down to 34%, but he's got a couple of triples here in the third quarter. The Hawks looking to get one back as Xander Hopkins hits the 3 off the screen by Corradino. 80-56. Simons out to Griffin. Inside. Griffin with the layup. He's got 14, 8, and 3, doing a little bit of everything at an efficient level. The lead's back up to 25. The Hawks haven't really been able to cut into this deficit, as now Agbaji gets a nice try for the layup. Ochai was 1 of 5 in the first quarter, but he's 4 for 4 since then. 86-63. Henderson to Sharpe for 3. It's good. Sharpe now with 12 points. Hasn't been an inefficient night for him. He just hasn't shot the ball a lot. Here's Sharpe from the logo. Heat check. It's good. What a shot by Shaedon Sharpe. 7 or 8 feet beyond the three-point line, and he drills it. It's been that kind of night for Portland as they're up by 27. Henderson to Agbaji. It's good. Portland's biggest lead of the day at 30. They have caught fire from beyond the arc. T.J. Porter Jr. looking to get one back. Heavily contested 3 for the Hawks is good for Porter. 95-68. Shot won't fall. Sharpe with the rebound. Last second here for Portland, and they don't get it off. And that'll wrap up a really strong quarter. 95-68. I think you guys get the point here. This game's a blowout. We can skip through the fourth quarter. Everybody in the arena is leaving, and not much really changed in the fourth. Portland ends up winning 125-97. A 28-point win here on the road for the Blazers, who have won a very impressive 8 of our last 9 games since the Dallas debacle, and we're 3-0 since acquiring Enzo Shabazz at the trade deadline. Really, really strong win. We started the game off, obviously, really well, up 21-3, and we never really let go. 25 points for TJ Porter Jr. He was pretty solid. I was really impressed by Corradino. He's a really good player. 17 and 11 on really good shooting splits. He also had 5 offensive rebounds and consistently got his putbacks. Hopkins with 13 points on 13 shots. Super inefficient, but he had 8 assists and 6 rebounds as well. As for the Blazers, 4 guys with 19 points. Double-double for Scoot, double-double for Griffin, and then Sharp and Springer as well. Ochai with 17, good to have him healthy. Simons with 15 on just 8 shots, good to have him healthy. And then Enzo Shabazz had 8 and 13. Shabazz is a very limited player offensively, but he was really good overall. And then Ashton Wisham, 0 shot attempts. He had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. Talk about making an impact on the game without scoring. The minutes were super balanced, and nobody played more than 25 minutes because, well, the game was such a blowout. We were able to sit everybody in the fourth quarter, and it wasn't like the Dallas game where we had to play our starters at the end because everybody else was hurt. This time, we could actually play the bench players. We've now moved up to 4th place in the Western Conference, having won 8 of our last 9 games. And I feel like we're in a good spot going into the All-Star break, although we cannot get comfortable. The top 9 teams in the West are all separated by 5 games. We're 2.5 games out of 1st, but we're also 2.5 games out of 9th. So we've got to continue to play well after the break into the second half of the season, which is where we're going to kick off next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought of the trade deadline down below in the comments. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.